Xin chào các bạn, mình là Brooklyn Day. Hi everyone, my name's Brooklyn. This episode is about contentment. As human beings, we've all struggled to find contentment at some point. We know there's a lot of things in our life we should be thankful for, but there's also things we want and haven't accomplished yet. Because of that, we lack inner peace. So, how can we hold both what we currently have and what we want? I've had different seasons of my life where I've needed contentment, had it, and lost it, and I'll share some of those experiences with you. Before we get into the topic, I want to thank you for spending time with me listening to the Slow English podcast as I share about my journey here in Vietnam. My hope is not only for you to learn English, but also for us to grow as individuals along the way. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Have you ever had a thought like, if I could just get a good grade on this test, then I'd be happy? Or when I find a boyfriend or girlfriend, my life will be complete? Or maybe even my life will be set if I can make this much more money. Achieving those things does bring a feeling of happiness, but it is short-lived. That happiness doesn't last because there are other things that you want, and life brings more problems. Happiness is great, but you can't base your whole life striving for a feeling that will quickly pass away. I've been stuck on this cycle a few times in my life. Maybe first it was, I won't be anxious anymore when I have enough money for college. I was so happy when I graduated high school and got enough funding to go to college, but then I started nursing school and I was anxious over my exams. So then I thought, if I could just get an A on this test, then I would be happy. When I didn't get an A, I was crushed. And when I did score well, I was so proud of myself, but that feeling quickly washed away when I had to immediately start studying for the next test. So then I set my sights on graduation, and when that came, I was relieved to finally be done with school and work my first grown-up job as a nurse. Each day at the job brought a thrill of excitement, and I found a lot of purpose in caring for my patients. I got paid pretty well for someone who was just starting out, which I was really thankful for. But things were still hard. When I started working as a nurse, it was 2020 in the thick of the pandemic, and I was often overworked. There wasn't an immediate next thing I was working towards, and I started to wonder about my purpose in life. There were things I liked about my life, but there were also hard things, and I didn't know how to hold both of those things together. I thought, is this just what life's supposed to be like for the next 40 years? This is when I started to learn the valuable life lesson of contentment. The first thing I learned to be content with was being single. I very much wanted to find my person. So many of my other friends were either dating or already married, and I wanted that too. but there was no one around me I was interested in. And I thought about this a lot. It's obviously okay to want to find someone to date, but it isn't healthy if that's what you are constantly thinking about. I realized that I could still be content in my current season of life, even while I still had that desire. So I tried to find ways to make the most of my singleness. I didn't know how long I would be single. I might be single for years, but also I could only have a little bit of time left before I found someone. So I wanted to make the most of the time that was right in front of me and not worry about the future. So that's what I did. I began to say yes to more things. I traveled to Europe to see some friends. I went to concerts. I tried to be at as many social gatherings as I could. I used my time to serve my community, volunteering at different events. I welcomed the cutest dog into my home. I got a gym membership. My overall goal was to become a better version of myself. I was truly thriving and loving the season I was in, to the point that I felt a little sad when Vu and I started dating because it meant that that season of my life was ending. But also, throughout our relationship, I still had to fight for contentment at times. We ended up for a little bit having a long distance relationship, which was tough. We were apart for 4 months while dating, 3 months while engaged, and actually we were apart for 2 months a little bit after we got married. I always wanted that time to pass quickly. I had to remind myself that time is a gift and we should accept the time that we have because we will never get it back. Those months of being apart were going to pass whether I liked it or not, so I tried to make the most of my time. So I did things like picking up extra shifts at work. I worked on advancing my degree. I spent more time with the friends and family around me because I knew that soon I would move far away. I was still longing for the next season of my life, but I did everything I could to be content in the season that I was in. And now I am in that season I was longing for. I'm married to Vu and I get to be with him every single day. I love my husband and I love being married, but every season of life has its own troubles. A lot of days, actually, having a spouse creates more problems than it solves, which just goes to show that whatever next thing we are waiting for will have problems too. So we should be satisfied with our life now and not wait to be satisfied until all our problems are gone. I'm telling you these things about my life so you can see this pattern of desiring something, thinking it will bring you happiness, getting that thing and being happy for a little bit, but then starting the cycle again, desiring something else. All of life is this way, looking towards the next thing. You start by wanting to be done with school, then getting a good job, then getting married, then having kids, then wanting kids to grow up, then retiring, and before you know it, your life is gone. All of these things are very important life events, and we should cherish the moments we're currently in while we're experiencing them. Sometimes it's hard to be content when you see so many things around you that you don't have. Maybe there's friends at school or colleagues at work that are richer than you and you want what they have. For me, living abroad has been amazing and has shown me so many different ways of life, but also it exposes me to more things that I don't have. Sometimes I have to have a little talk with myself before I go somewhere where I know I might get a little jealous. I have to work a little bit harder to stay content, actively reminding myself of what I already have and how that's everything I need. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future is a widely known saying. It means that you become like the people you hang out with. This applies to so many situations, but I want to talk about it in relation to contentment. If you are around people who are always talking about what they don't have, you too will be focused on what you don't have. But also, if you surround yourself with people who are content, you will find yourself becoming more content as well. I encourage you to choose friends who will build you up and not tear you down. Before we finish, I want to give a little disclaimer. I'm not trying to tell you to not have desires or goals anymore. That is called being complacent, not being content. You should have goals. It's what drives you in life. You just have to put goals in the right perspective. Goals look towards the future, while contentment looks at the present. I'm trying to encourage you to do both. As you go throughout life, remember that contentment isn't something you achieve once and then never have to work on again. It's a process. In some seasons, contentment comes easy, and in other seasons, you have to work a little bit harder at it. The effort you put into finding contentment is always worth it, though, because it allows you to truly appreciate the present and make the most of every moment you have. So, what helps you find contentment in your life, especially during tough seasons? I'd love to hear about what practices or habits have been helpful for you. Okay, thank you guys for listening. That's all for today. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.